The land of Talutine is one who knew how it was going to end at the dawn of its creation, due to the power of the stars. In this particular realm, the celestial bodies that flood the sky are closer than any other, which makes the power of prophecy an almost unchangeable ruling force. It chooses the kings, gives glories to those before their deeds are accomplished, and puts people to death before their evil is taken root. It even has so much say in this realm that some believe that fate controls the gods themselves. Due to this control, some embrace it, reaching far beyond its potential, while others pull against it like a dog on a leash, which is usually to their own detriment. At the age of 11, children are taken by augurs, prophets of fate, to give a general telling of their future and sorted into their suit. Others prefer to remain unread. Those who choose to avoid fate or don't believe it, or pull on the threads trying to unravel fate entirely. Either way, it is undeniable that prophecy has its uses, but don't look too carefully, as fate is often fickle.
Start with a plague doctor, Alex, driving at Shallowford a few months ago. Smile on his face and purpose in his stride. It is a poor town, struggling from poverty, and with poverty comes disease. In fact, plagues are all too common here, and are only scavenged off due to the ability to close off distance thanks to the irrigable ridges that cover the city, many canals. And it just so happens that that tactic has been put into place. Alarms swarm in the air as he rushes into the now quarantine district, being told to head straight to where the disease was first spotted and elevated. Upon arrival, he only found a little boy holding a container. The young boy appeared to be a sulcan. Had something wrong about him, as if all pigment had been pulled from his skin. Opened the container after a brief talk, releasing blowing smoke into the room. Alex did not worry, as his mask would protect them. As if there was not a hole in his mask. Gas filled his lungs as darkness flooded his mind.
Next, we see a sulcan by the name of Crux, causing a mysterious power. He had heard that there was a sulcan child in this town, which he has plans to liberate. He had searched the town to find a strange symbol hidden on a building. Curious, he investigated further, finding the child alone in the warehouse attic. The child was seemingly emotional. Revealing in conversation, he was just there to distract him, so his friend could sneak up on him, right before Crux was stabbed with the poison.
At the same time, Penny the Dragonborn Paladin looked for her father in the city. Sadly for her, he was a noble of some renown, and she could not reach him. However, a Marble Earth Genasi claimed to be a friend of her father's, and said he could get Penny into the noble district. She started getting nervous when she was led into a warehouse, but Penny, ever trusting, continued to follow. As soon as they entered, to the surprise of only Penny, she was attacked as the Genasi doubled in size and beat her to a pulp with an unknown anger.
Soon after, an Eladrin followed her cards to this town. Summer, the Augur, read that an individual crucial to her goals resided in the city. Her cards referred to this person as the Chainbreaker, and upon seeing a commotion in the attic of a nearby warehouse, she followed. After a hard climb up, she found a recently stabbed and unconscious Sulcan. Her intuition told her this man was the person she was looking for, the Chainbreaker. While she tended to his wounds, she was cornered by the man who stabbed the Sulcan. He introduced himself as a fellow Augur and asked Summer to follow him as a professional courtesy. She refused and was also knocked off.
Moments later, a masked stranger with his daughter worked at the dock. Regular had been here for a few weeks in the rough town, trying to scrounge up what little coin he could in this solemn town. As he moved boxes, he heard some commotion coming through a nearby warehouse and went to investigate. Inside, he found a sort of stage had been set as a fancily dressed elf sat in the middle. Regular, with his daughter sweeping behind him, but he was helpless after being trapped in a cart.
Meanwhile, the green scale kobold slunk throughout the city until they found a seedy tavern. Inside are two rather unruly goblins who immediately attract Joji's attention. After a few drinks and a few jokes, Joji asks the goblins if there is any work in town. The goblins smile at each other and say that they might know someone, and they lead Joji away. After entering the warehouse, the goblins were thanked and immediately paid. Apparently, the goblins were waiting specifically for Joji in order to lead them into a trap.
The party awoke later, each restrained in a small room with a gaping hole in the floor. In front of them were three individuals, a colorly dressed elf, a marble-skinned earth genasi, and a human with slicked back black hair. Something was strange about them, however, as they seemed to be drained of most pigment, leaving them all mostly monochromatic. The human appeared the leader of sorts, informed them that firstly both the sulken child and Sweet Pea are safe, and that he apologizes for what he's about to do. Before he could explain, however, Crux quickly jumped into the hole, hoping it would lead to freedom, when actually it was just access to a sinkhole under the city. Crux survived the fall but was unconscious. The human continued explaining that he has big plans in store, and his cards tell him that these individuals would be the ones to interfere. So although it brings him no joy, he has to dispose of them all.
One by one, they were brought over to the hole, killed and dropped, right on top of Crux, killing him instantly. Except for Alex, who was spared for the time being, as he being a doctor said they were willing to help with a strange condition they were suffering from, where it looked like their skin was turning into a charcoal. As Alex was locked up to run some tests, a strange short individual with white hair, who Alex lovingly referred to as Milky. He was expensive and cryptic, but said he was here to help him escape after they got Sweet Pea, of course.
Meanwhile, the other dead party members opened their eyes in an unfamiliar setting for the second time that day. This Milky seemed to be there too, saying that their destiny was not yet fulfilled, so he helped out a bit. After a brief conversation, the group looked around to find themselves in a sinkhole under the city that doubled as a sewer.
Rats, slimes, and friendship issued as the group was forced to work together in order to survive. Eventually, they limped their way into a halfling-owned tavern called the Second Chance Casino, where Alex, Sweet Pea, and Milky were waiting for them.
The group rested and got drinks as they thawed the frozen sewer water on their boots. As they chatted, Penny noted that her dad is a noble in the city, who she has never met. Milky offhandedly mentioned that if they did not find him soon, Penny would never get to meet their dad. Penny then pleads with the party to assist her in finding her father, saying that she is sure they would also be rewarded for such a noble deed.
With a clue from Milky, they headed into the dangerous swamplands of the Frigid Empire. On the road, they found a traveler with his cart in a mire. With Penny's knowledge, she spotted that this individual was actually a cleric of the Wayfinder, and after they helped him, he blessed their travel. It seemed that the blessing was short-lived, however, as zombies saw their fire in the night and swarmed them. Although roughed up, they continued the next day to find a strange doorway in the middle of the road attached to nothing. The party, understandably suspicious, inspected the door only to have it cover them in glitter when opened. More concerning, however, Joji found a gold coin with an R carved into it, a symbol of Ronald, Joji's old boss, who they killed, at the base of the doorway. Finally, they terrified a hunter who told them that he recently spotted a smashed carriage off the road.
They found the carriage in pieces, sinking into the mud, emblazoned with Penny's father's crest. After digging up some loot and spotting some drag marks, they went off the road, deeper into the murk. All plants and animals vanished as they got deeper, until all they could see was a solitary tree holding up a small, decrepit hut. They tried to get closer. The tree was surrounded by a quagmire, but everyone almost drowned. Here they saw that they were not alone, but a starved woman chained to a tree. She told them she had never seen a place before, that a wicked hag lives here, and they need to leave. The party refused, and Alex mysteriously brought wings out of their pack and flew Joji with himself over the mud.
Things immediately went downhill, however, as the tree animated and knocked the pair out of the skies. Simultaneously, the chained woman turned into a hag. A battle immediately commenced, with most of the party stuck on the opposite side of the mud. Alex and Joji desperately fought for their lives, while Summer turned into a giant turtle to ferry people across. It was slow going, however, but Joji did notice that the tree was actually hollow, and inside lay Penny's dad. When the rest of the party arrived, the tides of battle turned, but the hag got away before the party could do anything to her.
Now Penny finally had her father, but he was incredibly weak. He said that one of his bodyguards apparently had a deal with the hag to bring him to her. For what purpose, he does not know. They stopped for the night where everyone tried to teach Alex poker, which did not go very well, but other than that, the journey home was safe.
Now back in Shallowford, the party is rewarded and takes some time to bathe and clean up after the muddy cold. With some money in their pocket, they shop around a little, with Joji taking all of Penny's money in order to get a fancy rapier of warning. Each member of the party also purchases a present for Sweet Pea, as her 11th birthday was fast approaching. During this time, Penny spent some of her time with her father catching up. She learned that her sister and brother were both safe. In fact, her mother, a bronze dragon, had recently left to retrieve her sister.
To celebrate, they held a small party at Gerald's estate for Sweet Pea. It was a sweet, tender moment where the party got to enjoy each other's company without the looming pressure of danger. Sweet Pea got her new dress, mask, and several other gifts. But as everyone aside from Regular and Summer left, there was still one gift to be given.
As customary in this world, your fortune is told at the age of 11. So, Summer gathered her cards and began the reading, but something went wrong. Cards that Summer had never seen before appeared that clouded the brain when you looked at them. She and Regular tried to remember the information as best as they could, but by the end, it was too much and they both fell unconscious, the only scraps of info that they could remember.
After Penny has a few more days with her father, Gerald, he mentions that he could actually use their help if they are willing. He actually just came back from Berwick, and apparently an augur lied to him there that he would arrive home safely. He also needs a beautiful art piece delivered to a friend and a message given to a business partner. The whole party takes on this quest and is given a cart with the painting. A truly horrendous painting of a cat playing the lute.
While traveling between towns, Joji inspects the hideous paintings and discovers that it's actually being used to conceal illegal passports both into and out of Fate's Haven, a country currently at war with another nation. Joji informed the party as they traveled to the next city, but on the way, Joji saw another kobold. Joji went to check it out while everyone else entered the city.
In the forest, Joji discovered that tomorrow this kobold clan was going to attack the city. They asked Joji to help them. Joji lied, agreeing to aid their cause before heading back to the city so they could inform the others. However, when they reached the gate, they were immediately shot at. With no way in, a black-haired individual offered to help them in exchange for a card reading. They teleported Joji to the rest of the party, who found an inn where this black-haired individual did a reading for Joji and some others. The individual used a Taroka deck instead, a Twisted Tarot deck. Afterwards, they disappeared, leaving behind the Taroka deck for the party, which Regular took possession of.
Afterwards, they disappeared, leaving behind a Taroka deck for the party, which Regular took.
In the morning, the party tried to leave before the kobold attack. But they were too late and battled a force at the wall. It was almost a tragedy, with Penny infected with rot grubs and Summer trapped in the belly of a giant toad.
Thanks to the fast actions of the doctor, Alex, and the brave actions of Regular, they were both saved.
One more surprise was in store, however, when they looked back into their carriage. They found a beautiful, flirtatious woman named Jaden.
She accompanied the party for the remainder of this journey, with her saying that she knew of Regular as she took a special interest in him.
Now finally, at their final destination, they explore the joys of the city has to hold when Joji sees an old boss of theirs, who they killed. They chased him across the nearby roofs, but he got away without any questions answered.
Letter to a dragonborn barkeeper. Further arrangement with Gerald, without reading it, if I might add. Continuing with the quest, they made a meeting with an augur. By speaking with their assistant, but they were told to come back later and handed them the tarot card for death.
Trying to check up on their last task, they tried to hand off the paper, but demanded a meeting with the higher-ups to find out why Penny's dad had these illegal documents.
They agreed to a dinner meeting where they found out the person wanting the documents hidden in the painting was Jaden, apparently traveling with them to protect her investment. After some negotiation, Jaden agreed to let them keep one document in return for the rest, and stated that she looked forward to working with them in the future.
The next day, only Alex, Crux, and Joji remained at their inn, where both Joji's old boss and the Augur's assistant attacked the three party members in a joint effort. Joji's old boss appeared to in reality be a revenant bent on vengeance against the cowardly kobold, while the Augur's assistant attacked the party in hopes of protecting her boss.
At the end of the fight, Ronald was defeated, for now, but the assistant escaped. Or at least that's what she thought, before Jaden turned the corner and knocked her unconscious.